so sorry. Let's begin again. Welcome to this segment of the after parties, me, the jury. I am Tam. I am your host. I am not your lawyer, but I am your nosy best friend. Let's get started. This is so crazy. I can't believe I did that to myself. But anyway, here we are. Mistakes are made and then I fix them. Today we are going to be talking about Rebecca Park. Some of you know this story. Some of you don't know this story, never heard this story, but we're going to talk about it together today. Uh, this is Rebecca Park, or was Rebecca Park, should I say. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on this subject about Miss Rebecca Park, and we're going to start at the beginning and then work our way forward. Rebecca went missing in November the 3rd or 4th to be exact. I want to go back though. At the time of her disappearance, she was 8 to 9 months pregnant, due almost any day. Good morning, Lincoln. Thank you so much for joining me. Amara, Amanda, hey. I didn't even realize I was muted. I did the whole thing and then I was like, oh wait, I'm on mute. So sorry. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of background about Rebecca. Rebecca had a very complicated family background. Okay, so I'm just going to start with the beginning. She was adopted. She and her younger siblings were adopted. They had been removed from the biological parents' care because of some drug addiction and some other things. And they were removed. She was later adopted into a wonderful family and raised and had a pretty decent life with that family. But she still kept some contact with her bio family. Good morning, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, and so she, on November the 3rd, was 8 to 9 months pregnant, and she left home saying she was going to meet some people. She wasn't very clear on who she was going to meet. Um, they saw her getting into a dark color SUV in the passenger side, and that was the last time that she was seen. For 21 days, family and friends were looking for her. Um, It's also alleged that on that day she inherited some $2,000. I'm not clear on where she inherited that money from, but she had the $2,000 cash on her when she left home. Good morning, Lincoln. Um, and so it's later found out that with all the family and friends doing interviews, pleading to the media in the world and whoever would listen for her safe return. Her biological mother was giving interviews, speaking with the media, etc. And a bunch of volunteers in the neighborhood went out searching for her, and she was found 21 days later, her body abandoned in a park, and the fetus cut from her womb, and no sight of the baby. Later, after some investigation, her family members were arrested. This is her family, if you want to call them that. In the top corner is Richard Thayer. That was her fiance. But also her mother, biological mother, Courtney's ex-boyfriend. Yeah. Down in the bottom corner in the red is Kimberly Park. This is the victim's sister. And in the opposite corner is Brad Bartholomew, who was the victim's stepfather. All four of these people have been arrested for her unaliving and possible kidnapping, sale, or unaliving of the baby. Nobody's found the baby yet. So she went up. The story is that she went to meet the family, the mother, and the stepfather, and they led her into the woods, told her to lay down, and cut the baby out of her. Now, it's said that possibly they did this for financial gain. Possibly they were going to sell the baby. It's not all clear yet. But on November the 6th, which was about 3 days after her disappearance, the fiance spoke with the press and insinuated that Rebecca baby was going to be a son. And he also noted that Rebecca never went anywhere without her phone. And then her phone was abandoned on a trail near the bio mom's home. Um, Very disgusting. This whole thing is just horrible. Um, so some volunteers went live 3 weeks later near Courtney's home and explained exactly what they found in those woods. So on November the 25th at 2:15, good morning, Pitt. Thank you for joining. Um, I'm going to pause right here before I get into any more details and just ask that everybody go out and like the live. Liking in here doesn't give likes outside of the live. So if you go out to the home screen and like the live, I would appreciate it. Share the live, because I'm sure that there's somebody that you know that loves crime stories just like me, and they need to be here because this is one that we have gotten at the very beginning. Nobody has gone to trial yet, and so we can start this coverage right from the beginning. Okay, so let me go back. November the 25th at 2:15. Wexford County Sheriff's Office says that a body was found in the Manistee National Forest in the area searched previously in connection with Park's case. Late that afternoon, local stations news coverage says that Park's father said that her body was discovered along a two-track near her mother's home. I think a two-track is like a small road um, near the mother's home, and the identification at that time was still pending. And so a person close to the search claims that it was definitely Park. Around about 6 p.m., they started saying it was definitely her. Um, but moving forward, her family was arraigned just recently. Um, You shared it to Hippo Milk Girl. Good morning, Jen. Thank you so much. um, okay, and so let me go back to after all of this and some research, her family was arraigned this week. And that is where the prosecutor lays out what she believes happened in this case and what they believe that they will be able to prove in this case. And that is that she was lured into the woods where they cut her open, removed the child from her, and still no one knows where this baby is. I watched parts of that hearing, and it was very difficult to watch and to listen to. Um, that courtroom was packed. When I tell you that there was not a seat in the house, it was standing room only. Um, Family and friends and volunteers that had been closely involved in this case, they sat and they listened to the gory details. They cried, they sobbed, they held each other. It was hard to watch, and that was like my really my first um, introduction to this case, was watching that family have to listen to what they believe happened to their daughter, their sister, their cousin, their friend. I just can't even imagine being in such a circumstance. It is so foul, Jen. It's so heartbreaking to think that someone would have the mind to do something so evil, so cruel. Um, it's just hard to fathom. But yet things like this are happening every day, and that's probably like the saddest part. Um, but so far, I do know that both Richard and the sister of Rebecca are currently out on bond, um, awaiting further charges. They were arrested on other charges, not directly connected to her unaliving, but it is still suspected that they had something to do with the unaliving as well. So I want to talk about this comment. It's one thing to take a life, but in this manner. I think that's the part that is most disturbing, because it's not even so much of the how for me, it's the who. Um, to think that the person that gave you life would lower you to your death is unfathomable. Like, it just makes absolutely no sense. And I can't think of any good excuse that these people could have for this except for pure evil. Lincoln Lieber is asking what was the motive. So, what I can tell you is that what they allege or suspect is that money is the motive. That she did have cash on her that day, and also that they may have been looking to sell the baby. Um, I was also asked previously, would a child be able to survive something like this? And with the right medical attention, a baby could survive this. The child was, she was pregnant, 8 or 9 months pregnant at the time. It's kind of back and forth about how far along she was, because um, the fiance, ex boyfriend of the mother. That is why, like, to me, What? How? Let me. I need to find out how old this man was, because how was he dating the daughter of his ex? Let's look him up. Richard Thayer, age. Well, that's not the right Richard. They said this man is unalived and he was 80 something years old. That's not the right Richard. Hold on. Maybe that's Richard Daddy. They say he was 43. 43 years old. He was 43 years old. This baby was 22 years old. It's I want to know how they got together. Is it a coincidence that he used to date her mother? I have more questions than answers. But this is all the things that we are going to find out together along the way. So if you join me, if you are not a subscriber of this channel, please subscribe so that we can follow this journey together to figure out just what the heck is going on here and how this all came to be. Because this is just crazy. Okay, Ben Jen 318, and that's Janae to me. She says also they, the perpetrators, would have had to sustain a newborn's life, especially at an early gestational age. So that is what is like really concerning. Like, where is the baby? Did the baby survive? Did they sell the baby? Because they're now in jail being held without bond. So how would they be taking care or caring for this child? They wouldn't be able to. So it does, stand to question what happened to this baby. And I hope that by the time we do get to trial, that we will have some answers to these questions. Um, I pray that the baby is alive somewhere healthy, and that Rebecca's true family, the family that raised her and loved her and took care of her, might be able to take custody of him and raise him so that he will know love. But, you know, right now it's unknown. But that is my hope, that there is some semblance of a happy ending in this situation, because right now this is just a mess. It's a mess. But this case, along with some others that you know that I have been waiting patiently for, we will be following together, and we will be live streaming. I hope that we have enough time that we will be able to live stream this trial. Uh, it was not picked up and live streamed by the big media outlets, but I believe it was live streamed by like their local news media. So I will have to start following some of their local news media so that I'll be up on whenever new hearings and such come to pass for this case. Jen, that's all we can hope for. So I am going to also tell you guys that we had an update in the Courtney Clenny uh, case. There was a hearing 2 days ago. Courtney Clenny, I'll just remind you all that Courtney Clenny was the OF model and influencer who unalived her boyfriend, and I think now it's been 2 years ago. She's been held in prison without bond since the altercation happened. Her story is that they were having a heated argument in the house, and he came after her, and she had no choice but to defend herself. She threw a knife. The knife hit him. He bled out and died. That's what she said happened. That's not what the prosecutors think happened. They think that there was a heated argument and she came after him with the knife. And that's what I think happened too. But it's not always what you think or what you know, it's what you can prove. And so they're going to have to prove it because there was no one in that house but her and him. And he is no longer alive. And we know that dead men tell no tales. Um, Her attorneys have filed a motion to dismiss. The judge says she will be hearing that motion on December the 18th. I will be tuned in for that. Um, they have filed several other motions, and some of those motions have to do with the fact that they feel like the prosecution has been delaying in this case and they want to move this thing forward. They also filed a motion to reconsider bond because she's been sitting in prison for years at this point. And so they want to allow her bond. I think one of the reasons why she was initially denied bond was that she's a flight risk, because she was very well to do young lady off of her OnlyFans funding, if you will. I'm in the wrong line of work. I am in the wrong line of work, okay? Because what? She was living in a uh, penthouse uh, condo situation, her and him living a very posh life off of her funds from OnlyFans. Sheesh. They didn't have that when I was growing up. I would have been a star, baby. Immediately, Jen, immediately. Okay, we have to figure out where we went wrong in life. Where do we go? Okay, anyway. So, yes, the same personality you get on other platforms, you will get here. I will occasionally break out in song because that is what I do. Okay? And I love it. I love it for me. It brings me joy to do that. You bring me joy. Okay. Um, so that's another trial that I'm going to be following, hoping that we get a trial date for that soon. We know that we are awaiting the trial um, of Jarvis Butts, who is the suspected unaliver of the young lady from Detroit that went missing, 14 years old, and suspected to have been pregnant with his child. He was 42 at the time, and um, a convicted pedophile with papers and a record that her aunt knew full well his history and still had him around that baby. He wasn't supposed to be around kids. They tried to lie about it. I say lock them all up. They haven't done that yet. But anyway, uh, we gonna be following that trial. That's to begin in January. I will be live streaming that trial as long as there are cameras in the courthouse. You and I will watch together. Uh, we have so many things coming up. Also, the Little Dirt trial has been pushed out to February. That is a federal trial and it will not be live streamed, but I will try to give you as much on that case as I possibly can. Maybe we'll discuss him on Saturdays until the trial is over. I don't know how long that trial will last, but maybe I'll try to give you guys as much recaps as I can on that on Saturday mornings. You guys, I want this to be very interactive. I want you all to drive the content. Whatever you guys want to see, trials that you think are interesting, things that you hear about, let me know, please. And I will look into it. That's how I found out about Rebecca Park. Someone came to me, brought it to me, and asked me, was I following it? And now I am. So I want to know if you hear of something that I have not mentioned, maybe I don't know. Because contrary to what I think, I don't know everything, but I know a lot of things. I might not know everything, but I know a whole lot of things, okay? Why can't people just walk away? In someone's head, they say, I know what I'll do. Like, I don't know. I think in cases where things get heated, there are some cases where things can become so heated that in that moment you can't consider anything else other than what you're going to do in that moment. And that's unfortunate that people can't look past this one moment in time, because that one moment in time can and is likely and will likely change the rest of your life. The complete trajectory of your life will be changed in that moment. Um, it's always best to try to take a breath and consider all alternatives. And a lot of times, no, oftentimes the best course of action is to walk away. If you can safely walk away, you should walk away. But unfortunately, people's pride gets in the way often, and then they're not able to do that. And that is very unfortunate because it puts us right here where we are, where I am sitting before you talking about these crimes. And let's talk about crimes of passion or not being able to walk away. You all know that I have been covering and following the Brian Walsh trial, and the disappearance of his wife, Anna Walsh. This week has been quite interesting in that case. And the prosecution is finally starting to lay out what they believe is his motive. And I think they are trying to put forward to the jury that his motive was that he found out she was having an affair. A one night affair. Yeah. Um, you remember I told y'all in a previous live about when I was discussing the Brian Walsh case and giving you guys background. We talked about all these Google searches he had done, um, after her unaliving. Um, how long does it take for a body to smell? How to um, dismember? How to keep a body from smelling? How long does it take before a body smells? What time does the trash get picked up in this area? What dump do they take it to? All of these things. Um, but the prosecution had other Google searches in their back pocket that they didn't tell us about. The man Googled, will a body decompose in plastic bags? Back Christmas time, He was Googling the man's name that she was having an affair with. Now that don't look good because see one thing he just recently switched his his plea on a few of the charges. He went from pleading not guilty on all charges to pleading guilty in the lesser included charges of dismembering and lying to police in an investigation. And then they said in their opening arguments that they were having a great day that day, and he went on to take a shower, and he came back in the room, and Anna was non-responsive. And he shook her, and she didn't move. And he shook her again, and she didn't move. And he shook her again, and she fell off the bed. Listen, hey, okay, I don't know. You know, I wasn't there. You wasn't there. But since I be knowing things, in my knowing mind, I'm knowing he lying. I got balls. Listen, it sounds very far fetched to me, but hey, okay, I guess anything is possible. Um, but I'm concerned now that this may not fly because he is saying that he was unaware of her affair and that they were mostly happy. Um, the only real problems that they had in their marriage was his pending legal trouble from other cases where he had like a fraud. He had a federal fraud charge pending against him because, baby, he was out there selling fake artwork to people for thousands of dollars. And then the people found out that it wasn't real. And because they wired him the funds and he mailed them the artwork, it is wire fraud. And let me tell y'all something, don't be playing in the mail, okay? Because if you do something like this, it is a federal charge. Anytime you send something in the mail, it can become a federal charge. And that's what happened to this man. And so he got federal charges. He had federal charges pending, and it kept him from moving from Massachusetts where they lived together. She had bought a home, Anna had bought a home in Washington, D.C., and had started a successful real estate business in Washington, D.C., and wanted to move her family there. But he could not go. And the only way that he was out on bond was because he was the primary caretaker for the boys. They had 3 boys together. And she wanted, according to the prosecution, because the prosecution haven't really proven their case yet. I see where they're trying to go, but they haven't gotten there yet. The prosecution is saying she was trying to start her life over with this new man. Okay, they brought the man up, put him on the stand. He was there talking about we was planning our 1, 3, and 5 year plan together. We talked about it on Christmas. We was ready to move forward. Oh, but on cross, the defense attorney got up there and said, "So y'all was planning y'all future? She told you she was gonna leave, Brian?" And he said, "Well, no, she didn't exactly say she was going to leave Brian. She said, I thought y'all was planning y'all future. How y'all was going to have a future if she don't leave Brian?" He said, "Well, we was going to talk about that. But y'all was together on Christmas. I thought you said y'all did." "Well, listen, we was going to talk about it." "Oh, okay." She said, "But you wasn't quite able to move forward in an open relationship with her, were you?" He said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, you said that your son, your oldest son, wasn't ready to see you with another woman. So how you was gonna have an open relationship and plan your 1, 3, 5 year plan? He didn't have an answer for that. So that to me was a little bit of a blow for the prosecution's theory, because if she had not said that she was going to leave her husband, and in fact said that she would be devastated if he found out about the affair, then this theory that he unalived her because she was going to run off into the sunset with this man doesn't really jive with the story. Now, he could have confronted her about it, and they could have had some words, and tempers could have flared, and something could have happened. And he didn't do this thing that Jen said. He didn't walk away. But he is maintaining that he didn't unalive her. So he can't even say it was a heat of the moment, crime of passion. He can't say none of that. He's basically saying, I found my wife unalived and I panicked and I hid the body and I lied to the police because I didn't know what to do. That's what he's telling everybody now. Before he was saying he didn't do none of this, okay? At first he said, I don't know what y'all talking about. I did nothing. Whatever do you mean? It wasn't me. I saw you standing in the counter. It wasn't me. Yeah, that's what he said. He said it wasn't him up until 2 weeks ago when he decided, well, maybe it was half me. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm following just like everybody else to figure out, was it him or not. Uh, I don't know if anybody is believing him, but again, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Justin Retro Stuff Channel, good morning. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. We were talking about all things criminal trials. We started off with the Rebecca Park upcoming case, and I'm right now just giving a little bit of background on what happened this week in the Brian Walsh trial. But thank you for joining us. Listen, if you haven't done so already, make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you hit your notification bell and you are subscribed to the channel to get all of my recaps and updates on trials and other good stuff. Some of my good reviews. Um, Speaking of reviews, have y'all watched the Diddy documentary on the flicks of the net yet? I recommend it to all of y'all. Now don't tell nobody I didn't put you up on game. I said watch it now because Diddy's attorneys have filed a cease and desist. They want Netflix to take this thing down. They don't want y'all knowing this information. Okay? And I watched it. And I know why they don't want you to see it. Cause now I'm like, Diddy. Did he? Oh, didn't he? Listen, the man got a lot of people saying he did a lot of things. And a lot of people know a lot of details about a lot of things. I wasn't there, but it all sounds plausible to me. I mean, you know, if it makes sense, it might be true. I, you know, if everybody is telling the same story about you, then it's probably true. I mean, what you think? Tell me what you think. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the onlyest one in the whole wide world that think if it walked like a duck and it quack like a duck, then Aflac. Aflac. So if you haven't had time to check it out, I suggest you do. It's a short watch, just 4 quick episodes. I think each episode is about 45 minutes or so. It won't take you long to check it out. So do that. Check it out. Listen, if you guys have any questions for me, trials you want me to follow, even some past trials, because 2 weeks ago we recapped a past trial, the Alec Murdoch trials. We went over those things because his defensive team is looking to get a new trial. They are filing an appeal for a few different reasons, but the main reason, and the reason that I think that they may actually get an appeal, is because the clerk of the court seemed to have been a little too involved with the jury. She seemed to be talking to them and nudging them in one specific direction. She seemed a little too involved in the behind the scenes of the trial, and she lied about her involvement, and they arrested her. They locked her up. I'm locked up. They won't let me out. Yeah, they locked her up. They said, "Listen, you lied, and we can't have that." And so, if any reason why he may get a new trial, it may be because of her involvement. And so, I'll be having my ear to the streets and keeping my eyes opened on any um, updates in his appeal. We gonna see what's gonna happen. But if y'all do have anything that you feel like I should be talking about, shows I should be watching, anything that you might want me to review, send it my way. DM me. You can find me on all social media platforms, the.afterpartypod, everywhere that people want to be. I'm like American Express, baby. I'm everywhere you want to be. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can also, okay, Facebook, I'm under my government name, okay? So if you're going to find me on Facebook, it's Tamara Muyi, okay? Muhyee. And I don't care nothing about y'all having my government name, because I am clean, I am legal, I am an upright citizen of the world. I don't have no criminal background. And ain't nothing you could do to me. So go on over there to Facebook if you want to. I don't care. But make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Thank y'all so much for joining me this morning. If you have any questions before I end, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Thank you so much for joining Tam, your host, not your lawyer, but your nosy best friend. Thank you guys for joining me for this segment of the After Parties, Me, the Jury. I really enjoyed updating you guys on all these things. Please make sure that you are following me. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody, because they need to be here. They need all of this energy and all of this fun and all of this education about what's happening in the world. Until next Saturday, I am out of here. Make sure that you keep your eyes open and set your notifications for all of my recaps this week. And I'll see you back here on Saturday. Bye bye.